Hi, this is Amy Whalen with Amy's Inklings, and the project I have for you today is this pretty little card. The design was inspired actually by one of the challenges that I participated in this week. This is the Mojo Monday 374 design sketch. And this is one of the groups that put together sketches, and they challenge you to use your creative juices to come up with your own concept. So with this in mind, I thought, hey, the flower there gives me an opportunity to use and show with you a product I haven't showed you before, and that is our white simply pressed clay. And I don't know if you've ever played with this before, but it is so much fun and it's really super easy. And in addition to making all kinds of different embellishments for your cards, you can do some other fun projects too, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But the flower here was made with our simply pressed clay, and what I did is I used one of the molds that come in a separate kit. This is actually called the Buttons and Blossoms Simply Pressed Molds, and as you can see, there are 3 different flowers and 3 different buttons, and I just used the middle medium-sized flower mold to make that particular flower. And that's what this blog post is actually about, is how to use our white simply pressed clay. Now when you get it, it's in this airtight bag, and this stuff is really interesting. I call it yummy because I love the way that it feels in my hands. It feels really good. Almost like liquid velvet, if that can be possible. But what I wanted to show you was how to use this particular mold, and I was reading up on it on the internet when I first got this product, and someone had the tip of actually spraying the mold with a cooking spray like Pam. I don't have Pam, I don't cook with cooking sprays, so what I did was I've actually used a little bit of oil in there, and it helps release the clay. So what you do is you want to start with a small amount, and again I'm just going to use it white right now, the way it comes in the kit, and you just kind of press it down in there like that. Okay, and I have found that if you then kind of press it, I'm going to do this off camera just to press it on my tabletop. Oh, look, it came out. It actually came out. I didn't want to press it here because I don't want to get oil on my paper, but simply by putting it in there, it released really easily because of the oil that I used. But again, it would be a lot easier if you were to use cooking spray like a Pam, and watch, it just pops right out. Isn't that neat? I love that. Now you can use it white, or there are 2 different ways that I've colored it, and I'll show you one of them right now. You can actually use our reinkers, and this is our Hello Honey reinker, and you actually take some of the pressed clay, and I would suggest, you know what, that is so funny, I put it on the wrong hand. Okay. So you do want to put a little bit of ink right in the middle of your clay, and then you just kind of play with it. Ideally, I would put on 2 gloves. I was too lazy to do 2, but as you can see, as you work with it, it takes color beautifully. Let's see. I'll just have a Hello Honey colored finger. How's that? All right. But as you can see, isn't that beautiful? I love it. And the more ink that you put in, the darker that it is. Now, this particular card doesn't have Hello Honey in it. It actually has Daffodil Delight. And I didn't have a Daffodil Delight reinker bottle. So what I did was I actually made a white flower like that, and I let it dry. I would say give it at least a couple of hours. This is very interesting and very easy to use, because if you don't like some of the little edges here, once it's dry, you just use your scissors and you can trim off what you don't like. So it's just super easy to use, and I think they're absolutely beautiful. But I'll show you what I did to color my flower. This is one of the buttons that you can make, and as you can see, it's white. I had not colored that. when I made it. And what I did when I was trying to color my white flower is I actually, and the reason I'm using this button is because that one's not hard. This one's dried and ready to go. I actually just smushed it into my pad to see how much ink I could get it to pick up just that way. And then I also took my marker and filled in some of the crevices that the pad couldn't get to. And these crevices in the buttons are easy because they're just circles, and it's easy to kind of get in there with the point of your marker. The flower had more crevices that were irregular, so I found I couldn't reach all of them with my marker and pad. So then I took one of our aqua painters and kind of got it flowing wet. There we go. And then just used it to blend in the color. I mean, it's that easy. Look at that. So that's how I colored the dried flower, just like that. Now the leaves are paper that I die cut from the Flower Patch bundle kit. So it's just the flower that is made with the simply pressed clay. Now there are other fun things you can do with this too. The simply pressed clay can be used to make ornaments, which would be appropriate now since we're in December. And you can also make gift tags too. So this is a piece of the simply pressed clay that I used a rolling pin to flatten. And I would say this is roughly, I don't know, it's a little less than 1/4 of an inch thick. And what you can do is take any kind of cookie cutter, or you could even leave it circular. I had actually used a can to actually cut a circle out, but I want to show you too. You can also use cookie cutters, just like you would if you were making sugar cookies. And then you end up with, and for the sake of saving time, I have one ready. You have a shape like that. So really in any particular shape of cookie cutter that you have, or again, if you don't have cookie cutters, just use a can that you've taken the top and the bottom off of. But with this, you can then take one of your favorite stamps. This is from Endless Wishes, which is in our holiday catalog, and it is by far the most versatile and the most used stamp set I've ever used. I use this constantly. But you can actually just press it right into the clay when it's still moist, not dried, and then it leaves that beautiful impression. And then what you can do, if you want to, is use a straw, and I'll just go right here. Again, before it's dry, use a straw to take out the middle section, and now you have a hole that you can hang this on. And I'm going to have to try to be careful because, again, this is still flexible. It's not dried yet. But see how pretty that is? And then, of course, you could color it with re-inker if you want to, if you don't want it white, or you can wait until it's dried and then paint it either with markers or really anything. You can even use a varnish on it. I just think it's absolutely stunning. And then, of course, use one of our beautiful ribbons that we have in our catalog. And here's one other thing that you can do too. I just saw this on the side. I was playing with this. I wanted to see if I could make a button that looked like candy cane. So I took a piece of white simply pressed clay. I put a couple drops of re-inker in it, the red, and then I just twisted it a little bit. And that was enough once I put it in the mold for it to pop out looking like this. So isn't that interesting? I love it. Love it, love it. So anyway, that is our white simply pressed clay. I would suggest that you run and order some of this if you don't have it already. And again, I would suggest you also get the accompanying Buttons and Blossoms simply pressed molds, because you can just make endless buttons and flowers with it. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, you can also make ornaments and gift tags. So I hope you liked this tutorial. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.